Hello everyone. We are going to be taking the 6th Avenue route today. Right now we are in the Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn, and we will be taking 6th Avenue into Sunset Park. Today's a nice day. It's pretty breezy. We still have a lot of clouds left over from that storm we had a few days ago. And what we're going to be doing right here is we're going to be getting onto 6th Avenue where it ends in the Bay Ridge area. So 6th Avenue goes, has a couple of sections. So 6th Avenue goes from Park Slope, from around, I'd say Flatbush Avenue, down to Greenwood Cemetery. And then there's obviously that landmass, Greenwood Cemetery, and the New York City train yard out there. There's like a small train yard for the work trains at the 36th Street station. And then 6th Avenue picks back up again around 38th Street, and then ends down here at 81st Street. So that's what we're doing right now. We're getting onto 6th Avenue. Over by like 81st Street. And this is it right here. And we're going to walk into the Sunset Park section. And when we get into Sunset Park, we will walk around in the park, and that's where we'll end it. I'll wait for this car. SUV. So here we are getting onto 6th Avenue right now. Talk about the eclipse, the solar eclipse. So I'm recording this walk on Sunday, April 7th. You're probably watching it on the day of the eclipse, which is tomorrow. Well, for me it's tomorrow, for you it's today. I say tomato, you say tomato. So I'll kind of give you guys a little preview of what we're going to do for that. We're going to be doing that walk just like we do all our walks, like we're doing right now. We're just going to pick a neighborhood, which I've already picked a neighborhood, so you'll have to wait to see where we are. And we're going to do the walk, and the way it's going to work is we're going to have the walk going within the hour of the eclipse. Probably start the walk around 2:30, 2:45, and go right through till 3:25. 3:25 is when the eclipse is going to be at its peak here in New York City. It's going to be 91% coverage. So it's not going to get dark like at night, but the skies will darken and the light will go dim down a bit. So I'm going to be using a neutral density filter so that as we're doing the walk, the camera will not be using auto exposure. So as it gets dark, you will experience the skies getting dark. So and I think the way we're going to do is we're just going to walk in the neighborhood that I pick, and we'll just check out if there's people. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out in various neighborhoods in New York, and check out people's reactions and stuff like that. Well, that's how it's going to be. We're going to treat it like a normal everyday walk. I know it's not a normal everyday event, but you got to remember the way I'm looking at it is there's going to be thousands of people with videos, live streaming, and all that stuff, right? So you get all caught up in that group, and you kind of get hidden, So we're just going to treat it like a normal everyday walk. And you guys will all get to experience what it was like walking around in New York during the eclipse. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. I'll also throw up some pictures of the eclipse that we had in 2017 tomorrow to show you, kind of show you what 70% looked like in 2017 and compare it to what 91% was going to look like. Sixth Avenue has, you know, a lot of different types of homes along the route. You know, for now it's going to be these type of style homes. As we get into Sunset Park, you'll notice a lot of the walk-ups will start showing up. You know, those big 3-floor walk-ups that you're used to in Sunset Park. But we got a ways to go before you even get into the Sunset Park section. Temperatures around 55 is pretty brisk. So it's a windy day. It's been windy. I mean, I think I've already said this. I mean, it's been windy for like 2 straight weeks now. Every day it's windy. And we had a lot of rain last week. Now, a lot of these clouds you see here from the storm is still stuck right off the coast, so there's going to be, it'll be interesting to see who misses out on the eclipse and who doesn't, because there's definitely a lot of areas that are going to be covered with clouds. We're supposed to have 50%, so it's supposed to be like today, 50-50. So you see, like right now the sun is in. This can happen at 3:25, right? The cloud could be blocking the sun at 3:25, and you know, people that want to see it are not going to see it. We also had, I haven't done any walks since it happened, but we had the earthquake on Friday. And we had a couple of aftershocks, nothing crazy. But it's been quiet on that front. I said in that video, a small little video I did, right? It was literally right after it ended. When I was sitting there and it started, I thought it was a truck coming down a block. And then it got stronger, and then it just kept going, and I was sitting there, and once you started to hear the doors shaking in my house, that's when I was like, oh, this is an earthquake. I was kind of like in denial. It was like, earthquake? Why are we having earthquakes? So, yeah, it lasted about, I want to say it lasted about 20 seconds. It peaked at around 10 seconds, and you know, you get to that point where you're like, okay, is this going to get stronger, or is this it? And you get to that point where it's just, okay, it's not getting any stronger, and now you're waiting for it to end, and then it was over. So that was my 4th earthquake. I experienced 2 strong earthquakes in California back in the late 90s when I was in the Navy. And we had the 5.9 earthquake that was in Virginia that was felt up here in New York. And I think, don't quote me, I think it was like 2011. It was years ago, but and then we had the one on Friday, so that was my 4th. But the difference, and I was telling some friends this, that the difference between this one and the previous 3 is this one felt like more like a it wasn't your, especially if you're in California, you get those what they call the roll-in earthquakes. It feels like you're standing on a rug and you got one person on either end pulling back and forth, and you're trying to stand still, and you feel it going side to side and up. This one was it was like a rumble. You know, like an up and down. It was like somebody was just shaking a house. You know, it didn't feel like it was moving. It felt like it was just rumbling. So it was kind of strange. All right, I'm gonna cross here. It's a nice day out. It's warm, but that wind is brisk. So, and I got the winds blowing right into me.
It was 145.
Let me center my camera. All right. And then I can move my camera in. As you can see, it's, you know, a lot of the trees are still bare. You have some trees budding out. It'll be interesting when we get to Sunset Park, in the actual park, not just the neighborhood, but when we get into the park to see what the park looks like. Now this is an interesting, like, next couple of blocks. I'll show you why. So you got these houses here that are on the angle. A lot of the houses on 6th Avenue down here, when you're in the 80s, are on this angle. They're on this like 45-degree angle. Same thing across the street. And I'm gonna go into the street here to show you guys. I always like these little small walk-ups. They're like 2-story walk-ups. They're like miniature versions of the Sunset Park walk-ups that you will see later. But as you can see, they're also on an angle. And they just step out. Each home steps out to another level until it gets to the end of the corner. It looks like we got some trees budding here. And we just walked by the school a couple of days ago on our last walk. This is 72nd Street. Remember, we just did the 72nd Street walk. This is the school that we walked by the other day. This is actually 72nd Street was what gave me the idea to do 6th Avenue, since we haven't been down here in a while. And you see we got more homes on that 45-degree angle. It is a Sunday, so I would imagine there will be a lot of people in the park when we get there. It is around noon time. crossing Ovington Avenue. Oh, actually, an interesting story about that apartment building. See this apartment building right here. Years ago, there was a fire, and I called it in to the fire department. And I'll tell you, the fire was on a fire escape, of all places. It was an air conditioner. Had caught fire, and I just happened to be coming home on one of my walks, and I saw it on fire. And the crazy thing is nobody else saw this, so I called it in. Fire department showed up pretty quick, within 3 minutes. And the people inside, you know, the apartment where it was their air conditioner, they didn't even know it was on fire. So you had the firemen going, putting the ladder up to the fire escape, and you had the other part of the fireman team going into the building. And it was funny because we were all, now there's a crowd, now people are watching, and you could see the people in the next room watching television, and you could see one person get up, open the door. You could literally see, because they had their blinds open, it was in the evening, and you can see a fireman come in, and they're like telling them to get out. It was a pretty interesting experience. It was funny. They put it out pretty quick, but it was air conditioner, it just caught on fire, and they had no idea. So it looks like I've got music. I'm going to stop for a second. There you go. Now we're back. Another one of those situations where I don't want no copyright strikes. You get a copyright strike on your video, nothing happens. I mean, you're allowed to have it up, but YouTube likes to say, well, we're not going to give you any commercial advertising revenue. We're going to give it to the guy that's singing. So I've been on top of that. No. This guy tried to go right through tried to beat me through the crosswalk. We're about to get to the Gowanus split. Gowanus Overpass coming down 65th Street. And this is where Bay Ridge ends. And we will be crossing into the Sunset Park section of Brooklyn. This right here, this whole park complex is the Leif Ericson row of parks that goes up and down 67th Street. You got going down this way. There's an overpass down there, but it continues on the other side of the overpass. And you got it up here. You can see the 65th Street Tower buildings out there. I used to play baseball down here when I was in Little League. On these fields sometimes, come down here. Church across the street. Looks like I'm gonna get the light. So, got some music coming again. So, it looks like his music went off. I don't know if I'm gonna make that light. 8 seconds, 6 seconds. Well, looks like we're gonna have to stop here, and I'll be right back. I'll just edit out this wait. All right, we're back. That was about 3 minutes. You can see all the traffic that comes off of this. So a lot of traffic down here. And look, they only give me like another 5 more seconds to get across these 2 lanes. And I'm gonna take it. You get a little filthy in this area right here. This is a slummy little area right here, this next couple of blocks. We are walking over the tracks of the N line and the Brooklyn Queens Railroad. I'll give you guys a look so you guys can see what it looks like. It looks like this was just painted. It smells like it was just painted, this graffiti. All right, so here we go. This is the Brooklyn Queens Railroad, and there goes the N train coming in. So give everybody a look at that for all you train fans. That train is going into the 8th Avenue train station. Eighth Avenue train station is just to my right, another block down. I know we're on 6th Avenue, but the train station starts at 7th Avenue and wraps all the way down to 8th Avenue. Cross over here and we'll take a look at some of the graffiti up on these sides of these buildings. Now, there's a lot of traffic down here, so we're going to get into an area where we're going to have to get, stop and go. I was not expecting to get caught up here like this. I'm going to just go right in between these two. See some of these old run-down buildings down here. And some of these buildings look like they might be still being used, but it looks like things are closed up today. It is Sunday, so. And now I gotta go back into the street. And we are walking uphill now. This is a really, I don't want to say it's a steep incline, but it's a pretty good incline for sure. Yeah, we'll take a look inside this garage. I might have mentioned it, but in case I didn't, we are in the Sunset Park section of Brooklyn. Now we're going to pass by a house that I lived in when I was a kid. Well, when I was a baby. I'll show you where Stride Warrior laid his head down in the crib. Like, not crib, slang crib, but an actual crib. We lived on 6th Avenue. My parents, when they were young, their first apartment was on 6th Avenue. And before moving down to 8th Avenue, that's where we were for most of Sunset Park, before we moved out to Dyker Heights, Bensonhurst area. So when we get there, I'll show you. You got OLPH, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. You got the church and the school. There's a church is up there. School building is down here. I just crossed against the light because all these cars over here are turning. So here is the school building. And this is a big school building. It's almost as big as a church. We will start to notice a change in the buildings down here. Today should be a busy day down here. Once we start getting close to the park, we should start to see some more foot traffic. We're going to stay on this side of 6th Avenue. The house that I was talking about where I was living as a baby is on the other side, so we'll just take a look at it when we get there. And I lived down here. I remember, I actually have memories of the blackout. The 1977 blackout. It lasted for 3 days. We are coming up on 56th Street. And you got this park across the street on my right side. I used to come into this park when I was a little kid. My mother used to take me to this park sometimes to go on the swings. And the swings are still in the same spot. I'll show you where they are. Actually, are they in the same spot? No, they're not. They're gone. So never mind. That was wrong. But if you see the park across the street and you see that first building with the white wall where the trees are, that was where the swings used to be when I was a kid. They got some other contraption over there now. We're going to be seeing our first set of Sunset Park walk-ups coming up shortly on the next block. The house that I lived in was also a walk-up. Every time I walk by this particular walk-up, it's actually not even a walk-up no more. I cringe when I see this. Look what they did to this beautiful walk-up. They turned it into just bricks and no stairs. So. I would imagine, I don't know, I mean, don't quote me, I'm not a real estate person, but I feel like that would bring the value down if you did something like that to to a walk-up. You see downhill, all these streets to my left that we pass is all downhill. We're at the highest point of Sunset Park right now before we get into the park. Sunset Park is the highest point of the neighborhood. We're still kind of going uphill a little bit. Got a church here on 53rd Street. All right, doesn't seem like she's not all there. There's a church. We are getting close to the actual park. You can see some more downhill streets here. Got the school to my left. And then to my right, you have City Fresh Market. And we are on 50th Street. The park itself is about another 6 blocks out. When we get there, we'll walk around the park for a little bit and then we'll end it. A lot of smells of all different types of foods right now going through my senses, my sensory system. A lot of these, so I'm smelling a lot of breakfast being cooked right now. I know it's not even lunch anymore. Lunchtime, it's not breakfast time anymore, it's lunchtime. So I guess everyone's making brunch, but I can smell bacon. I can smell sausages. Got an ambulance coming towards me. And here we are, the corner of 48th Street and 6th Avenue. And I will show you where I lived. And it still looks the same. You got the church here that's been around forever. This church was here when I was a kid. And then right there on that corner, that was where I lived. Top floor, and I have a picture of myself laying around somewhere on the computer of me peering out the top window at my father with my mom. What I would do is I would watch my father come home from work down this block. He would take the R train home and he would come up the block, and that house has an amazing view of all of New York Harbor, the Statue of Liberty, downtown Manhattan, everything. You could see forever down 48th Street. So when I was a kid and was like 2 years old, I would go to the window and wait for my father to come walking down the block. Some more walk-ups. Now that ambulance that passed us actually made a stop just a block away from us, and there is a cop car out there, so we'll see. We'll see if there's anything going on when we get over there. Sunset Park can still be a gritty neighborhood, you know? It's not as dangerous as it was when I was young. But, as I like to say, shit can still go sideways, and it looks like shit did go sideways because there are 3 cop cars and 1 ambulance outside this building. And that's usually never a good sign. Because that means the cops called for backup. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk right through that area. Give me 1 second. Give you guys a look back. Here we go. And I think the person's already in the ambulance. So here we are. The person's already in the ambulance and they're talking to the person. I can't see, but looks like something went down because you can see all these cops are here. And just like that, we have made it to the park. So we are going to go into this park and do a quick walk around, and we're going to end it. And these streets are really, over here, these streets really get inclined, and you can see all the way down the street there. You can actually see, if you look close enough, you can see the ocean. Statue of Liberty is right in front of us. It's very hard to tell, but Statue of Liberty is right in front of us there. And here we are, we're in the park. And Sunset Park is one of the highest points in Brooklyn. If I'm not mistaken, it is either the second or third highest point. I'll throw the stats right there on the screen. You can definitely see the Statue of Liberty from here. So. When we get to the high point of the park, I will give you guys a nice little look around. Now you can see how high everything is up here. You can see how it just drops off out there. You can see the top. We're higher than the tops of those apartments out there. Those apartments out there are, those I think are 3-story or 4-story buildings. You can see the whole city skyline from here. And what I'll do is I'll come out here. And it is very windy up here because there's nothing to knock the wind down. But you could see the view is amazing. If you look out there, you can just see the Statue of Liberty. To the right of that church tower that looks like the top of the old tank of the space shuttle. If you remember the space shuttle tank. When I was a kid, I used to call that the space shuttle. And you got Statue of Liberty out there right above that black, darkish building. And then out here, you can see all of Jersey City. I could imagine there's going to be a lot of people watching the eclipse here tomorrow. I'll give you guys a nice panoramic view of the whole harbor here. This is one of the highest points in Brooklyn, and it's just an amazing vantage point if you ever wanted to come down here with a long lens camera and just take some zoom shots. What I'll do here, one second, we will zoom in as much as I can. Yes, this camera does zoom. All right, let's get back on the path and we'll walk around the park a little bit. This park has a lot of paths. It's so in case you're wondering, it goes from 7th Avenue to 5th Avenue. That's 5th Avenue down there, which is you're looking at down there. And then as far as the side streets are concerned, we walked into the 44th Street side, I believe. I always get my streets knocked out over here because the park is so big. So, but I believe this is 41st Street. Got some music going on the left side of me. I hope that doesn't hit the YouTube algorithm picks that up, or else I'm gonna have to do some serious editing. Yeah, so that's 41st Street in front of me. I'll show you an area we used to sit and watch the fireworks, the Macy's fireworks, but it's really hard to these days because of a lot of trees have grown in over the last 30-40 years. Now, when we get up to there, that's where we're going to end the walk. Actually, we're going to end the walk up there. This park does feature a pool. There is a pool, although I wouldn't go in it, but there is a pool here that opens during the summertime. We did go in it when I was a kid. We used to go into it. I don't know if they still have the 16-foot diving pool. There's also a diving pool in there. There was just a regular big pool and then the diving pool. But this area right here we're going to end it, is like a viewing area. And you'll see what I mean when we get up there. But all the trees have grown in over the years. But when I was a kid, you can look straight down to New York Harbor and see all the fireworks going off. A big Doberman. So this is the area we're going to end the walk, but I'll kind of show you. So all these trees when I was a kid were small, and they have really grown in the last 40 years. We used to be able to see unobstructed this whole area, and you'd be able to see the Macy's fireworks. You can still see the fireworks. This is still a big spot where people watch the fireworks, because what you're looking at right now, that's the east side. So you can definitely see the fireworks right here, but it gets crowded over here. And the 4th of July is, you can imagine it gets very crowded. All right, we're gonna end the walk here. Thank everybody for taking the 6th Avenue walk into Sunset Park. Stay tuned for the next walk. Is going to be the Eclipse Walk, and I will catch you all on the next one. That right there is 6th Avenue, continuing on to about 38th Street, but we are not continuing on. So take care, everyone. Catch everyone on the next one. Bye bye.